Was it my good friend?
What's up, Q? Hey, I'm just happy to be here to discuss some hoops with you. With all the stuff that's been happening, I think it's a good time to start off this podcast. And on Michael Jordan's birthday, February 17th, happy birthday, Air Jordan.
To my good friend.
What's up, Q? Hey, I'm just happy to be here
Oh
to
wait,
discuss some
is that
hoops with
you?
you.
I think that's you. Yeah, I
With
think
all the stuff that's been happening.
nope, that was me. Ha, that's amazing. I'm on one today. All righty. I was like, no, that's definitely you. That was you that's doing that right now. Look, I'm excited to do this with you. You are probably one of my favorite people in Bitcoin to talk basketball with because we don't agree on jack shit. Pardon my French. We will get into it in a future episode, but like the disrespect that prompted all of the trash talking that then prompted the start of this show. Um, Let me just say that you will have to defend the words that were said about the late great Mamba.
I mean, yeah, no. Look. I come from, and you can appreciate this as a quant yourself. I'm all about the math when it comes to basketball. I was raised an engineer. I played ball in college, but I had to split my focus between the math, the logic, the objective rationale, and the passion of hoops. And over time, I just started looking at basketball not as a fan, but as like, okay, there's more to this. It's almost like a money ball kind of dynamic. And I just see the game a different way and it pisses a lot of my friends off. But we're going to get into it and I can't wait. It's probably not going to be this show, but we have some things to hash out.
Absolutely. But as we mentioned, this show, we're going to, just a week and a half after the trade deadline has officially come to pass, the NBA is officially on All-Star weekend break. So we figured now is as good a time as any to go out.
Yeah, you might shut off a little bit. That's the beauty of a live show. Sometimes it's not as you expect. It's okay.
All right. Let me fix my. All right. It says it's working now. So
You
I'm going to
sound
just.
great. You sound great.
All right. Um, So, like I said, they are now off on All Star weekend. We've seen some of these players now don their new uniform, so we can start to, I think, make some judgments, because the armchair experts in us after one game seem to know better than NBA scouts, coaches, and executives. So here we are telling you what we think. Should we just start with the biggest, baddest fish in the sea?
I guess so. I guess we're going to as well. There's a couple of them. So I mean, it was the Nets, but do you want to start off with the Nets to the Suns or the Nets to the Mavericks? What do you think?
I'm a I'm a simp for some chronological order.
I,
I will
I
say that. Like I simp for just nice flow of things. So
Well, in my
let's start.
opinion, yeah, I think that was a good, and the reason why I think that, we were kind of looking at that same dynamic in the off season where Kyrie had, no, Kyrie or Kevin had both demanded a trade. And the Nets sort of said, shut up, you're going to play, just deal with it. Kyrie ended up signing back for a year. And then all of a sudden, after the All Stars were announced, he just said, "Oh, by the way, trade me." And I was like, get the popcorn ready. It's about to be hot. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, it was logical for him to go to the Lakers. But when I saw that trade to the Mavericks, and of course, us being from LA, you would think, oh, you want to see Kyrie back. But I saw the trade. I'm like, Dallas did a great job, but the Nets got, I think, their values worth. And I just thought that it was good for Kyrie to separate himself from that team, move on to where he felt not disrespected, as to quote him. And I think he's going to fit well as a high end number two option, just like he did fine when Kevin Durant was out there. He did great with LeBron, and I think that he's going to thrive with Luka. And with the last couple games, whether I think they went 1-2 or 2-1, but they're playing fine. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this all, as you brought up, like this started last summer. everyone in LA was like, all right, we're getting Kyrie. Like, let's go. Like, reunite. Let's reunite the 2013 NBA champs. Let's just get after, or 2012 NBA champs, right? No.
Mhm.
Yeah. No. Whoa.
No, no, no,
2016.
no, 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 no. That's the Sun.
Oh,
That's
I'm
the
off.
Heat. We're gonna have to make.
I
Yeah, I think push
apologize,
forward
education.
probably 2015.
You're muted, but it's 2016. 2015 was the
Yeah.
Warriors. That was the year that Iggy won Finals MVP.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're
The
still muted.
Cavs won in 2015 or
Oh, look, you're
2016.
muted.
So, huh? I'm muted. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
What? You got me? Test. 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 Test.
Okay, I hear you.
What? Oh, hold on. Did I turn down my gain? Now I messed up. You hear me now?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm sorry about that. Ooh.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. All right. So, anyways, we have essentially, a situation where you have a very disgruntled player, coaches who've essentially said, like, yo, you gotta, like, we're not moving you. Did you see these reports about how the Nets like went out of their way? They were like, we're not going to trade him to the Lakers. We're not giving the Lakers another championship. Like, have you seen these reports?
I saw that. I'm good now, right? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. But here's the catch: like, like baseball does this all the time. They get these pitchers as a rental, and Kyrie. The catch is why I thought the Mavericks trade was so good is because they enabled themselves to push forward. If you look at the salary cap dynamics, they had Dorian Finney-Smith for the next 3.5 years. They had Spencer Dinwiddie for the next 1.5 seasons. And what ends up happening is now you have shipped them off, which is long-term commitments to money, and you come back with the Kyrie Irving. And even if Kyrie doesn't stay, now you've positioned yourself with 30 something million of free cap space right now. So if he goes off, you're in the market for D'Angelo Russell. You're in the market for Raptors Van Vliet. You're in the market for basically any other max player that you think could complement. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names.
Luka.
Luka Doncic. And so that's the kind of thing, like you set yourself up to maximize your ability to win right now, which I think they have done. You couldn't get a better trade. But even if it goes sideways, you're still maximizing yourself for the near term to set yourself up for immediate support for the long term. So that was great on their end. And what ends up happening, yeah, if Kyrie says, I'd rather still play with LeBron, like I still think may happen, your Dallas is still fine.
Okay. I can appreciate the fact that, hey, if this is a half season rental, like we're in the hunt for another marquee caliber name, and that has really been what Dallas looked like they've been missing this whole season. I do, however, want to push back at this idea that like some of the names you're throwing out. Look, we'll talk D'Lo in a minute, but like there's a large drop off in my opinion, and I would think you would agree with this, from Kyrie Irving to D'Angelo Russell or even Fred VanVleet. Like Kyrie is a different caliber of player. My concern, and I wanted to pull this up just to make absolutely sure before I just like outlandishly say something. I believe the Mavericks, since completing this trade, are 0 for or 1 for 2, 2 and 3. They've lost 3 straight heading into the All-Star break. So out of 5 games, they've only won 2 of them. Now look, you're working on gelling. Kyrie's going to be studying that playbook all All-Star weekend, I'm sure. Like you're developing something here, and we've seen it before with the Lakers. Like what happened to the Lakers in 2008 when they went and got Pau Gasol? They were like a middle of the pack, like towards the back end of the playoffs, and then just boom, skyrocket to first in the West. Not necessarily saying that's going to happen, but they're set up, and I think the expectation is, hey, we're going all in on this. We're going to have home court advantage at least for the first round of the playoffs. Okay. And then on top of that, we're in the hunt for a championship. Because if this is just for half a season, we better cash in our chips for the right reason. Now, Luca technically plays point guard. Like, he has played point guard. His usage percentage for this season alone sits at over 38% usage. Over 38% usage, highest of his career. Kyrie is also a ball dominant guard. Like, he requires the ball to be effective. On the other end of the spectrum, though, Kyrie is actually having his second lowest usage rate of his career at 27%. You combine these two, you're looking at a usage of 65% between your technically your two guards, because Luka's now going to slot over to the two. Does that concern you that essentially 2/3 of the basketball game has to flow through these guys for them to be as efficient as they have at least just been thus far?
It's happened before. I mean, when you consider I'm not. Next time I'll be able to be ready for your usage arguments, but I can't imagine what the Cavs back in the mid teens were that different, and they were very successful. The same thing, honestly, I think the same thing with the Heat. I can't imagine LeBron. If LeBron didn't have the ball, Wade definitely did, and the rest of the guys were spotting up, shooting, whether it's Chalmers, Shane Battier, catch and shoot. That's all they're expected to do. So if you're going to have high usage, and there was also a stat with the most effective isolation players, most efficient with scoring isolation, two of the top 10, the only team that had two of the top 10 players in that ranking, one of those obscure stats from ESPN. But even still, if you're expecting high usage rate, which means likely high isolation and effective isolation, technically they're winning. And so I find that Kyrie is one of the reason why Kyrie's so good in this world with all these all these alpha superstars is because he can play off the ball and on the ball. He doesn't necessarily need the ball like Russell Westbrook would, because Kyrie was a 3-point shooting champion. Kyrie can spot up, catch and shoot. These are some of the things that D'Angelo Russell can't do, that Fred VanVleet can do, but at a lesser rate. I think that Kyrie would be much more successful than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson proved that he was all-star capable in that last year with Dallas. But he's more ball dominant as well. So it's like Luka needs to cook, if you will, but Kyrie doesn't. Kyrie cooks when Luka is a little too tired, and with as chunky as he is, he probably could use a little rest. So I think that Dallas has a good chemistry. When you think about the guys that are next man up, Dwight Powell was actually a much more efficient player at that 4-5 position than Dorian Finney was at the 4. Even though he doesn't play as many minutes, I think he's going to be more efficient as he's required to play more time. Christian Wood, more offensive minded, but Dwight, if they can share where Christian Wood is more offensive, Dwight Powell's more defensive. I just look at the team as like, they can. I'm not saying that they're going to beat Denver. They can do all this and still lose to Denver in the finals, but they're situated to be a top 2 contender, more so than, in my opinion, Memphis, more so than the Clippers. I think it's we're going to see once they get to Denver. Now the jury's out.
I mean, we'll get into expectations towards the end of this episode, but like, do you think the stage is set for some of the spiciest drama in the history of the Western Conference playoffs? Like, since possibly the days of Kawhi being on the Spurs?
I mean, of course. I mean, the first thing I said was to like a half dozen people is like, I hope I see a Phoenix and Dallas playoff match. But I mean, when you think about when you think about spicy, you really just want to see that. The rest of the Western Conference is kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, Denver's really good and Sacramento is better than you expect them to be. It's so funny. You talk about Dallas is 2-3 since Kyrie came to town, but they lost to Sacramento Minnesota and just barely lost an overtime or a struggle with Minnesota, who can beat teams as well. They're in the playoff hunt. They're not much lower than Dallas. So it's kind of like they could have easily been 4-1 or 1-4. So I don't fault them for that. I think the West. What I think it is I think the NBA, as much as people like to complain, oh, it was better back in the day. You have more individual talent per capita than you've had ever before. And maybe it has to do with the marketing, but I mean, you go down, you look at the Lakers, and they last year you could say that they had two of the five best players in the league.
Don't say
If
that.
they
That's too embarrassing to admit. Given how
Yeah,
bad
because
we
they have
were.
no chemistry and they're lazy and tired and old and fat and satisfied. And that's what happens to some teams. They win and they don't care about winning anymore. And I think that that's a little bit of Davis. I see LeBron and I see a little bit of lacklusterness or defeatedness when he's playing. A turnover is like the end of the world. And so it's like, but guess what? You still have LeBron and AD at the bottom of the West, and they probably will make the playoffs and threaten the Grizzlies or something. So I just see
So
the
awesome.
league. We haven't even gotten to Cleveland. I don't think we're going to get to in this show, but there's so many teams with a lot of potential. What you're seeing is a shift in a level of parity that you used to expect in the NFL. And now what do you see? You see the Eagles kind of repeating. You see the Niners always there. You saw Tom Brady always there. But now you look at the NBA, it's like, is it guaranteed that the Bucks are going to go deep? It's not absolutely guaranteed. So I love the parity. And as much as you say the West, I mean the East is just as dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, like I would say ever since Kawhi Leonard decided not to sign with the Lakers after he won the championship with Toronto and he went to the Clippers because he was supposed to be a Laker, like dumbest move of his career by far. But like as a basketball purist, not as the Lakers fan of me, as a basketball purist, it was the best decision ever because that parity began then. Because at that moment you had about 8 different teams just across the NBA that could have won the championship. And then, of course, the best team in the league, the Los Angeles Lakers, won the Mickey Mouse championship. But I digress. To your point, I'm looking at just the full 30 NBA teams. And, like, dude, 13th place in the West is the Lakers. They got freaking Anthony Davis and LeBron James. You got 12th in the West that is the Portland Trail Blazers with Dame. You got the Utah Jazz, and they've turned into like turning their white boys into all stars now. You got the Thunder with Shy, the Warriors, obviously, Timberwolves with Cat and with Ant, Zion with the Pelicans, Luca, and Kyrie. Then you got the Suns. We'll talk about them in a second. The Clippers, we already know PG and Kawhi. The Kings are interesting to me, but like I think that's the first almost asterisk where you can say like they don't have that like oh massive like oh my god like De'Aaron Fox is gonna just like torch you. Like honestly, I'm not afraid of him. I've never been. Honestly, my hat goes off. My hat, nice little hat tip to Mike Brown for that. But then Grizzlies, Nuggets. Those are the 13 teams in just the top 13 teams in the West. Every single one of those teams has either an all-star this year or someone who is considered to be just like an upper tier caliber level of player. Like that 13 teams in just the Western Conference. Like that's incredible. So to your point, we've come a long way. I will say though, the stars of our childhood were far better than the stars of today. Like, give me Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Kobe over John Morant any day of the week.
I mean that would be that's another quantitative thing that I could discuss with you after we have that big discussion on my little side project. But I don't I don't fully agree with that. I think that the players nowadays, and you've mentioned John Morant, but I'm thinking Jokic and Antetokounmpo, still LeBron James, Luka Doncic. I think that these stars here are proving to be just like you spoke about Luka's usage rate. They have high usage rates and they're winning. But you talk about McGrady, you talk about Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant, half of his career, high
No,
use.
you are not disrespecting the name of Kobe Bryant on today's
Okay,
show.
okay.
God damn it. That will not happen under my watch. God
You
damn
gotta
it, Ulrich.
accept it, man.
No.
You
No.
gotta accept it, man.
No.
The usage rate of
Yeah.
these players coming in post Michael, they did all the Michael except for winning, and Kobe won more so than Carter and McGrady. I know, I
I'm
know.
just saying Carter and McGrady were more fun to watch.
They're more fun than watching John Morant.
Yeah. I would rather watch Tracy McGrady highlights than watch John Morant. And John Morant right now is my favorite player in the NBA. So that tells you sort of how I feel about today's NBA game.
You gotta look at the winning, man. They gotta win while they're doing it. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, they're just
All right,
Dominique
all right.
Wilkins.
We're getting into the weeds on this. We're getting into the weeds.
We're going down rabbit holes. We haven't even talked about the next trade.
We are one trade in. All right. I picked Simpin for chronological order. I feel like for continuity's sake, we should talk about the other big trade out of Brooklyn. And
Okay.
then we'll talk about the Phoenix Suns, and then we'll bring it back around and talk about Brooklyn because we really just talked about the Mavs and Kobe because for whatever reason you feel like disrespecting the man. Like the man's dead, all right. Leave him alone.
I'm such
Leave
a
the poor
contrarian.
man alone.
All right.
All right. So, in case you were living under a rock, Kevin Durant is on his fourth, arguably fifth, because the Seattle Supersonics literally had to leave Seattle because of him. So, no, I'm just messing.
No, that's not.
KD's gonna come kill me now. All right, so
He
fourth
watches
NBA
Twitter.
team, fourth NBA team. However, the first time ish, he made a move that wasn't prompted by himself. Like this wasn't a move in free agency. Like the team just traded him.
He didn't demand that trade.
No,
He didn't ask for that trade after Kyrie. Oh, okay. So they were talking. It's like, hey, where are we going forward? And the team said, you know what, we better cash out, which was a good idea.
So the story behind the trade was the new Suns owner like was very adamant, like, hey, you guys need to like confirm me as the owner before the NBA trade deadline because I want to come in hot. So the very first thing this man does after becoming the owner of the Phoenix Suns is get on the phone with the new Brooklyn Nets and essentially ask like, yo, what's the price for KD right now? Nobody made the phone call other than the Phoenix Suns. This was not a we're shopping around, oh, let's look what we can get. No, it was a Phoenix initiated it when the Nets went to KD and his team and were like, would you be interested again in revisiting that conversation where we move you and Phoenix was on your list of teams? Like, does that interest you? Let's do it. The fact that Phoenix was able to hang on to Devin Booker, massive. Massive. Less so DeAndre Ayton, in my opinion. Like, I'm just never convinced that guy's like as good as the money he's paid or the position he was drafted in has ever warranted. We'll discuss Chris Paul, but I do think, and I'm gonna say it with a little bit of disdain for the man who quite possibly wasted a year and a half of LeBron James' career. Like, this is probably the best point guard that Kevin Durant has ever played with. And yes, I'm saying that after he just played with Kyrie Irving. But I will say that I will caveat it by saying, like, hey, Chris Paul today is not what the great level of Chris Paul. Like, absolutely, I'll agree with that. But the thing I will challenge, and the reason why I will say, like, Chris Paul is still probably better than, like that basketball IQ, that sense of being a floor general, that drive at the fact that like I tasted playing NBA Finals basketball. Like, do you remember what he said right after losing? He's like, I got the taste in my mouth. Like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back to the finals. And like a part of me, especially because he was supposed to be a fucking Laker, especially because Chris Paul was supposed to be a Laker. Like, I do wish he would. I was rooting for them in that finals. Like, I'm fine with Phoenix winning it. Like, Devin Booker, probably the worst player to drop 70 points in that 70-point club. Like, I'm definitely in that camp. But I do think that it is worth realizing that the Suns did not give up that much. Like they gave up the big 3-and-D guy in Jay Crowder. It's gonna bite them in the ass because the Bucks went out and got him. That was an insane, like that sucks. Mikal Bridges, awesome. But KD is just such an upgrade over those two players that no matter how many points they now give up on the defensive end for losing those players, you have the best scorer in the NBA, full stop, right now, added to someone that is considered one of the top scorers in the NBA right now. It's almost like I look at Dallas and they've got Luka and Kyrie, and then the supporting cast around them is a little weaker. Then if you look at the Suns as Kevin Durant and Booker, and then the rest of that supporting cast, like the Suns still have, I would say the Suns are what, 7 quality guys deep still. You only need 8 in the playoffs. You only need 8 guys in rotation for the playoffs. And I think that the Suns, like, I was saying championship or bust for the Mavs, but like, oh my God, if the Suns don't in the next year and a half, you got to give KD a full offseason to like get acclimated with the system. But if they don't win a championship, that you got to asterisk both of KD's championships with Golden State Warriors because those super teams were just nuts. Oh yeah, I'm coming in with like the spiciest, craziest things. I want to see if NBA Twitter will actually cancel us or even pay attention to this show. So I'm trying.
A lot of NBA Twitter believes what you just said. That's the thing. And I thought supposed to be the contrarians. We're Bitcoin ballers. We're supposed to see past the mainstream nonsense. I feel like a lot of the stuff that you're saying sounds a lot like !SPN. And let me tell you something. This trade.
Okay, let me just ask you this.
So you
let
need
me
to
ask you
finish
this.
your points because I'm simmering here. But go ahead, finish your stuff.
I mean, the expectation after KD and Kyrie were in Brooklyn was that was a possible team that the Lakers would play in the finals, and then injuries prevented that. Then you upgrade that duo with obtaining the trio that is James Harden, and that trio played what, 70 games together in their time span.
Yeah.
That was that was then the team. And candidly, your one 3-pointer with KD being just like 2 inches, his left foot being 2 inches back,
his
and we're
feet
having
were
a very
too
different
big. He
conversation.
needed a size 14 instead of 15.
Like straight up, like you wear a different shoe, and we're having a very different conversation. Absolutely. But then that team got blown up. And then they try to like bring Ben Simmons of all people and think like, oh yeah, like let's put Ben Simmons in a bigger city because the problem was his maturity and his desire to do the off the court thing. So let's put him in a bigger city and that's going to work.
Uh-oh.
And that never really amounted to a whole lot. You have to ask, like, I genuinely am asking the question of, okay, has KD ever fully recovered from his injury? Like genuinely, because KD at OKC,
Connection
KD
issues. I can't tell if it's me or you. I've seen
you look
a lot of the big names that get to play with Phoenix, but the problem.
All right. It looks like Ulrich's internet just completely shat the bed. Because there's only one person watching. What is up? Please make sure you like and subscribe down below. We're just dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties, but I will continue my rant about why Kevin Durant's failure in Brooklyn leads the expectation for him. Like, he has to win in Phoenix, otherwise it calls into question everything he's ever done in his career. Like, it just does. But I digress. It is also really interesting to see just how far the Nets, who are still technically in fifth in the East, have fallen, given the fact they. Oh, and is he back? All right, there
Am I
you are,
back or are you back?
bro. You left the stream. I think your internet crapped out because it still says your internet connection is really
I
bad.
left. I left. You left. I was there the whole time.
I, bro,
That's
the
what it said about
stream
me.
don't
And you're.
lie.
That's so funny. I was. That's so funny. We're gonna have the stream to see which one was actually kept because I
Bro,
was. I had. I felt like I had to
go look at
carry the
Twitter, go
audience.
look at YouTube. I was just talking to our like three people watching right now, but I was essentially just
I'm
further.
happy that three people.
I was just further cementing the fact
Okay.
that KD needs to win for his legacy. Are you frozen again?
Oh my gosh, this is so bad.
All right. Mm. So I'm gonna give him like another 3 minutes, but I'm also gonna take these screenshots for the sake of pointing out the fact that I'm the only one on the stream right now. What up, Ulrich? We're gonna timestamp this at 32 minutes. I'm gonna tell you to come look at the stream at minute 32, 40 seconds. What's up, bro? Where you at? Where you at? Um, on the other side, though, it is interesting to see Brooklyn just decide to blow the whole thing up. They're fifth in the East. Who knows? We'll see if they can still put up a fighting chance. We had Mikal Bridges drop 40. All right. Your internet says 10. You're so bad. That is honestly a great face, though. I'm gonna screenshot that because I'm gonna meme that. Yep. Perfect. Perfect.
Crazy.
You are so
I don't
frozen.
know. Can you?
Yo, look at the chat. Hi, mom. So, anyways, I'm gonna just keep talking about the Brooklyn Nets side of it because I want to hear your take on the Kevin Durant, and you're gone again. Brr, brr, All right. All right.
Now I'm back. Hello.
Yeah. Use the chat
Okay.
down here. My phone is the camera, so I can't see if you're texting me. Dude, you make the funniest face. Like I just gotta keep taking screenshots of it.
Oh yeah. No, I was. Yeah. It was. Yeah. Okay. So I have some things to say about. So you can hear me, right?
Kind of, you're honestly like coming in
Yeah.
really choppy and
Oh
frozen.
my gosh. Hello.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
don't.
crazy. Yeah. My Wi-Fi is shot. This is so crazy. I don't know why.
I'm gonna have to
We're
call it on the stream because we're just dealing with technical issues now for the last like 5 minutes. But on that note, thank you for tuning in for the very episode of the Bitcoin Ballers podcast. All right, Ulrich, if this works, we're going. If it doesn't, I'm calling the stream the next time you drop off. Okay?
Yeah, we're going to have to. So look, here's what I got to say. Phoenix Suns, they blew it with the with the trade. And the reason why they blew it, I think, is because one, they blew up their future 4 first-round draft picks. You can't do that. I understand they want to win now with Chris Paul, but the catch is Chris Paul, he's done. His now I like to use the stat win share over 48 minutes. He has actually had his worst win share over 48 minutes of his career, besides 1 year, and that was when he was hideous in Houston when everyone thought his career was over. And so when I look at that, I say, okay, this is bad Chris Paul. This is hurt Devin Booker. This is KD being KD. He's still a stud. But now you take away the swingmen, Cam and Mikhail, who did a great job of running, defending every position, and shooting threes. And that's what made Phoenix good. Not the fact that every team has a star. You know that. You went down the stars 13-1. But what they had that was so unique is that they had two guys that could spread the floor so that the stars could be the stars. And right now, what I'm going to tell you is that they're going to be able to, Devin's going to get his numbers, KD's going to get his numbers, Chris Paul's going to struggle, but they're not going to have anyone to supplement them when they are swarmed. And that's a scary thing. And I think that Phoenix is going to be a first-round exit. And this is going to be another failure. People are going to look down at Durant, even though he is top 10 player of all time. And yeah, I know we're going to talk about that. But the catch is that Phoenix made a brash, rushed decision. And with this owner story, I'm not surprised. It's kind of like, oh, I want to hit the ground running with a big bang. And I'll pick up the pieces later because guess what? It's my team and I'm going to have it for the next 15 years. What difference does it make? So I think that Chris Paul's career chances at a finals or a championship is done. I think Kevin Durant is going to have to delay it until he demands a trade again to the Lakers or someone else. And Devin Booker is still going to grow into his prime, but all the other growing, budding, players that are getting into his prime, 26-year-old Bridges and Johnson, they're gone. And Jay Crowder, he hasn't played all season, but that was one of those key things. Like, oh, that's the reason why they won, because it was Dennis Rodman with a 3-point shot. It's like Phoenix messed up, but so I think they're going the opposite direction of Dallas. That's me.
So I know you're, just talking out of your ass right now because there's no way that bubble MVP TJ Warren and
TJ Warren is still recovering from like a broken entire left ankle and leg and femur.
right, but this time instead of him being relied upon like he was by the Nets to be a starter and contribute starter level play.
The Nets were more deep than this Suns team right now. You're talking about deep. I was looking at their bench while my internet was blown up, and I don't recognize those names.
Terrence Ross.
Terrence Ross is okay. He's a decent player on a bad team.
No, but good player on a bad team makes for a quality rotational guy on a great team. Like that's what you're looking like. I just need to get 10 good minutes out of each of these guys. That's it. They just need to play 10 good minutes.
I didn't know Terrence Ross can play defense because you traded away 3 defenders. You literally traded away 3 defenders. And Kevin Durant, he's as great of an all-time great as he is, top 10. He is not going to be the one that's going to be chasing around Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's not going to be chasing around. He's not going to be switching on guards trying to defend them. He doesn't want to do that. If he does do that, his shot is done because you can't chase people around at 34, 35 years old and then come down and making jump shots in the fourth quarter. That's what Cam was for. That's what Mikhail was for. That's what Crowder is for. And they're gone, man. I mean, what's his name? Who's the guy with the headband? Who's the guy with the headband on Phoenix? Forget his name. Torrey Smith.
Mm,
Not Torrey
mhm.
Smith. That's a receiver. But Torrey, he's more. He can do the stretch stuff, but he was
Torrey
like
Craig.
the Torrey Craig. He could stretch the floor a little bit, but he was fourth in line behind those three that just got traded away. When you look at, honestly, when you look at the Nets, we haven't gotten even to the Nets yet. When you look at the Nets team, they actually look, in my opinion, more capable of winning a playoff game than the playoff series than the Suns. And the reason why is because they have 30 games to figure out how their chemistry is going to work. Oh, by the way, all of those guys can do whatever you need them to do, and now Ben Simmons probably is going to say, "Oh, I don't have all these big stars around me now. Like I can shake off the fear dynamic because that's probably all it was. He just had those jitters the same way that other guard that went to Orlando had. He just has some jitters. I guarantee he's going to like, oh my gosh, Ben Simmons is like actually okay now. Why? Well, because he doesn't have Embiid, Durant, Harden, Kyrie pressuring him. Like you better do something. So it's like now he has a bunch of guys at his peer level, and he's just going to be like, hey, let's just go play basketball. The Nets are in better shape now than they were with those three. As much as I actually like each one of them, sometimes you're better off without. Sometimes you're better off separate than together, and it's going to show. The Nets are actually better off without Kyrie and Kevin Durant, in my opinion. But Kevin Durant went to the wrong team. But it is what it is.
You remember the season that Melo got traded from the Nuggets
five
to the
five
Knicks?
players, 5 players for him, and it was a bunch of really solid players for Denver. And the Knicks became a mediocre team with a big star.
And they were great all year long. Like, no, they were like a top
Hmm.
3 team in the East that season. Like, they
Okay.
were like solid. And then they sort of, to your point, like lost all those pieces around Melo.
Oh
But
yeah, that's right. Okay, that's right.
yeah. And then after Melo came, like they actually fell off a little bit, and everyone was like, "Oh, like they must have paid too much." Within a year, the Knicks were the number 2 seed after LeBron James's Heat. So
They don't have
is
that much time because Chris Paul
so
is now 39 or
totally.
38, and
Wait,
he's six
I
feet
thought it was
tall.
37.
But he's 5'11", and it's like it's different. LeBron James is like, oh, LeBron can do it. No, Chris Paul is like short. When he retires, he's going to be out of shape. He's not like a beast. He's just a very talented short guy. He's also top 10 in my opinion. But he's 5'11", and it's like that's just a you're going to have to find a whole bunch of veteran minimum players to fill in that gap, and also find a point guard that can play for a minimum amount of money that can ball out, because you're going to have to take over those minutes for cheap that Chris Paul just can't do anymore. So I agree. That's fine. Build around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but understand that floor general that you're talking about, his performance right now, his efficiency is going to take even a bigger dive. We're talking Bitcoin 2022. And so what are you
Ooh,
going to do when
ooh,
yeah.
not as bad as 2018 though. So who knows? Maybe it's just hey, look, Peyton Manning with a broken neck and a
Was
shell of
hideous.
yourself,
Was
but
hideous. That's right.
but
They had a
still won.
defense.
Still
They had
won.
a they had a
And Chris Paul's got a lot, the best scorer in the NBA right now, and arguably another one that's top 5.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
all they got to do is get hot 4 times out of 7.
The problem is that all those teams that have the All Stars, every one of those 13 teams have All Stars. They get hot too, and who's going to stop them? And I'm saying that that shootout, that would be a nice shootout, but tie goes to the defender there, and they ain't got no defenders in Phoenix. It'll be a
No,
nice. It'll be.
no, the tie goes to Kevin Durant.
I
The
love
tie
him.
goes to Kevin Durant.
I love him, but you saw the tie last year. It didn't go to him. The tie went to the other team because his foot was too big. So
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like my dude is not gonna lose another tie.
man,
Like you
honestly, I hope not. I hope he does well. What else do we
Like,
have to do? We have 15 minutes. We have to go to another trade. We haven't talked
well,
about the
let's
Lakers.
talk the Nets side, and then we'll talk our Lakers, and then we'll set expectations. So let's talk the Nets, because I was bringing up while you were gone, like they're fifth in the East right now, so they're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
They even won their most recent game. Freaking Mikael Bridges drops 45 for them. So, like, do you think this team is in the playoff hunt? Do they
Mikal
stay
Bridges,
in?
Cam Johnson, you have Cam Thomas. You still have Seth Curry and Joe Harris who can shoot from the outside. So now you have a bunch of guys. Is what's going to end up happening is this is what happens with teams that have these tools, but no one to wield them. And this would be a great team for Chris Paul. This is what I mean. Half this team was Chris Paul, and then they come back, and that's why we just needed that floor general, and that they made Phoenix to a 60-win team. Uh, I don't know if they have the playmaker now. If Ben Simmons can turn into that, if he can get out of his feels, and I don't think he's going to do that now or next year. It may take 3 years, but this team can theoretically be the same team 3 years going, and then they make a nice trade and they bring in a good star. But honestly, yeah, they're gonna. I think they could win whatever they're gonna win is an upset because no one expects them. They don't have no star power, but you look at their squad like 1 through 12, and every one of them could start somewhere in this league. And you can't say that about every single team in this league. A lot of teams are top heavy. They've been structured so every team has their stars and their stars are producing. But the Nets are like the counter to that. And if they have Jacques Vaughn, I think he's a solid coach. Can he figure out how to shuffle these 12 players in 30 games to make them win a series against a formidable opponent, probably the Cleveland Cavs? That's a coin flip. But I think they're not like out of the
What?
trade.
You think even they stand a chance in a series against the Cavs?
I think every team has a chance against every team because also, again, I believe in the Cavs.
Okay.
I think that the Cavs can go to the finals, but I also think that the Cavs can lose in the first round because they're young, because they're inexperienced. The same reason why there's a reason why
Donovan Mitchell is not inexperienced.
the rest of the
Donovan
team
Mitchell
is.
has played serious, competitive, and like he hasn't won those series. He did
Rest of
not beat
the
the
team.
Nuggets. Like my favorite playoff series was the Nuggets Jazz series that went back and forth. Him and Jamal Murray, that was an awesome rivalry that was brewing. But to say that Donovan Mitchell does not have playoff experience is disrespectful, in my opinion.
I didn't say again Cavs, not D Mitchell. So it's like the rest of the
I mean,
team very young, and they're going to be. We're not talking Kevin Love. We're not talking. What's his name? Karis LeVert. We're talking about the players who are going to, or if they're going to win, they're going to win because of Allen, Mobley, Garland, and Mitchell. And three of those guys I mentioned are 21, 22 years old. So yeah, they're inexperienced and they can easily blow it in a playoff time where it's like mistakes matter a little more. And yeah, when now you look at the Nets, could they beat them with players that made it to the finals? Yes, they can
so
catch them with their pants down, but
So
I don't
let's
expect.
play this. Let's play this game real quick.
Yeah.
So the four teams above the Nets right now: Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, and Cavs. I think all four are a lock. They have about a 4 game. The Cavs have a 4 game lead on the Nets. So that seems to me like that is the we can break down what tier each of those teams are, but that is a different tier, I think.
Yeah.
Now the teams immediately below the Nets that are but like 6 seed Knicks in the playoffs, no play, and then the play-in teams, the Heat, Hawks, Wizards, and Raptors. That leaves the Bulls just 2 games behind the Raptors for a play-in game.
Hmm.
And it leaves the Bulls about 8 games back of the Nets. That's a lot. Wow. That's a lot more than the West. The West is way tighter
Hmm.
because the Lakers are just a game
Two
and a
games
half.
out of play-in.
Yeah, 2 games out of the play in to the 5 seed. They're only 5.5 games back.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I honestly, I personally think I have a hard time seeing the Nets drop 8 full games to
Right.
drop out of that playoff. I think they end up falling enough to the play-in. I do think that the Heat are working on something, getting their groove back a little bit, and that's the team that I would sort of expect to not be in the play-in, but I wouldn't put it past the Bulls. Like DeMar DeRozan going into All-Star weekend, seeing everyone else laughing, like happy, getting in a good place. Like
The
go
Bulls are
back.
limited. The Bulls don't have their full team. So I mean, they are. I mean, as we can make fun of Lonzo Ball, because of our experience with the Lakers, but he's improved as a formidable starting point guard who can pass, play defense, and even improved his 3-point shooting. He's hurt. He's gone. I thought Westbrook was going to get picked up by the Bulls, and he could give them after he got bought out. I don't think he's bought out yet, but he could
Not
give them
officially,
that.
but we'll get into that.
Yeah, he can give them that push that they needed. But I think the way the playoff picture is looking right now, I don't think it's changing. I think Miami and New York may flip just because of the experience Miami has. But I think Brooklyn, I think they're going to hold their position. I don't see them losing 3 games just arbitrarily. Oh, like we don't have any star power. We suck now. They don't suck. Like all their players
I'm
are
not saying they suck, but they are 3 games from a guy like Bradley Beal going off. Then you have a guy like Trey Young go off. You have a guy like Jimmy Butler go off. And like
we
all you
just
need is a
saw
couple of those games to happen against you. And
Cam
like
Thomas just have 3 straight 40-point games, and then Mikal Bridges after that. They have. Oh, you mean I don't have to play behind Devin Booker anymore? You mean Kyrie and Kevin Durant are gone? Oh, let me show why I'm in the NBA. And it's like these now they got Dinwiddie, Bridges, Johnson, Finney-Smith, Claxton. By the way, every one of those guys I mentioned play crazy defense. Dinwiddie's probably the worst of them. Then Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, Joe Harris, off Royce O'Neal off the bench. Royce O'Neal was starting the whole season. They have 9 starters. Yuta Watanabe is a baller off
my
the bench.
boy, Utah. Woo! GW,
This
baby.
team,
Yeah.
this team is going to be fine. And so it's like I don't see that. Like, yeah, you say Bradley Beal can just go off. Like Bradley Beal's been going off, and he's been an 8 seed forever. Like he ain't scaring no one. He ain't scared. If I'm the Nets, I'm like, we ain't scared of Washington. They could triple team him with all those guys that they used to be winning games with the Suns, because this team is going to be, honestly, besides the Cavs, is probably the best defensive team in the playoffs on the East Coast. And the whatchamacallit, the Cavs earned it. They have the #1 defensive rating right now. But with this new team, seeing the players that they brought in, the players that are going out, they just brought in a whole bunch of 3-and-D. That's how you win in the NBA right now. Now, can they get the ball to the people at the right time? Can they win in the fourth quarter if it's close? Maybe not. But they may not even have to win games that are close because they control the tempo. But we'll see. This season's going fast. We're only doing our show once a week. That's going to be 3 games in a row. We're going to have time to talk about, hey, how are the Brooklyn Nets doing? Because now they're going to go.
I will be bringing the Brooklyn Nets up to you every week to remind you as they start falling off place by place. Don't you worry, Ulrich. I will keep the receipts, and you can do the same.
Oh, I can't wait. We have to get to the Lakers. Do we have a hard stop?
Lakers trade.
We have a hard stop.
I don't have a hard stop unless you.
Oh, we keep going until you have a hard stop. Right. I know you have things to do.
All right. So our hometown team.
Yeah.
I don't think I feel comfortable calling you a Lakers fan right now.
I'm objective ever since LeBron James, ever since Kobe retired, I became hyper objective. In fact, I will tell you the moment I became a not diehard Laker fan was the year that Kobe Bryant went to Mitch Kupchak and said, I want 2 years, $45 million. When he could have done the Tom Brady, the Tim Duncan thing, and he could have saved money and brought in Carmelo Anthony. He could have brought in some help, and he decided to max himself out as a broken, past his prime player, past his prime volume shooter, and that's not right.
His prime.
He
Kobe
was
was never
past his
past his
prime.
prime. He
Oh
was
man,
still good for 25 points a game, so that's not past his prime.
if good for 25, but he averaged 15.
He didn't. No. Pull up the receipts.
Rosie,
No.
we're not going to. You're gonna give it to me. I'll be
Like I
ready
said, he's
on
not a
Monday.
real Lakers fan, so I'm not calling him a Lakers fan. This is just his hometown team. This is my team. I bleed the purple and gold. Now, to defend the Mamba, because for whatever reason you feel like disrespecting him every time we speak.
I have to lay the groundwork for our show.
Listen. You need to read the book by Josh Perlman, The Three Ring Circus, where he interviewed the whole like Lakers dynasty from the 96 season until 2004. And it really showcases both how dysfunctional that team was and why they really struggled the first 4 years when Shaq and Kobe played together. But then on top of that, it really helps to explain why at the end of Kobe's career, nobody wanted to come to LA and play with him. Like he had burned so many of those bridges already that the way he's remembered now by the young generation is vastly different than the way he was remembered in the game while he was playing by his peers and by those who knew him when he was younger. Like he was rough around the edges and he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yep.
And a lot of people never forgave him for that.
Kobe.
Yes.
Okay, so and guess what? That dynamic caused him to say, "Hey, no one's going to come play with me. I guess I'll take that money because you ain't paying. You're not going to get anyone else to come." And therefore, the Lakers became a mediocre team for the next 5 years until the King came to town and gave them actual hope. Now, I'm not trying to say that.
I would argue that it was actually Anthony Davis that took us out of the slums because we missed the playoffs the first year with LeBron.
You need help, yeah. But Anthony Davis wasn't coming to LA without type of LeBron James because otherwise he could have just stayed in New Orleans and continued to put up his 28-14 and lose in the first round.
Fair, but you will not disrespect Kobe Bryant without defending him.
I'm trying not to.
So anyways,
the Lakers. The Lakers.
My team, the LA Lakers, they finally did it. They got rid of Russell Westbrook, the man from Louisiana High School from right here in Lawndale, California, was not welcomed. Not even for, honestly, he was welcomed until he like suited up and played. And
I was going to say exactly that. Right. Everyone thought it was going to be good, but you realized.
I did not.
I didn't.
I did not. I will pull up receipts.
I kind of thought a little.
I was hopeful, but I was like,
right,
you just like, look, man, look, honestly, you know who I really blame for the way the Lakers, Rob, you're doing too much, bro. You built a championship team, quite frankly, because you kind of fell in your lap. Like, go with it. Don't fucking, what are you doing? Let me blow this team up and let me I want to put my mark on this team. So A, Pelinka, you fucking piece of shit. B, Rich Paul, Pelinka, you must be Rich Paul's bitch because Alex Caruso was willing to take less money to stay with the fucking Lakers. And we wanted him to stay with us because he's awesome. And you need the guy who hustles. You need a hustle 3-and-D guy. And Caruso was just awesome.
I wouldn't say Caruso's a 3-and-D, but he's definitely look at his
3-point percentage, and he locked down every all-star player he played against, especially in the bubble. So he is a 3-and-D guy.
Okay. I always thought that the
don't hold it against him because he's white.
No, come on. What are you talking? I went to Peninsula High School, bro.
Hey man, I'm just saying.
I'm hanging around.
I know, I get it. White guys aren't supposed to be good at defense, but he's good at defense.
He's a great athlete. I wish he could have stayed. Also, KCP. I thought KCP was the epitome of the 3-and-D guy that really helped the Lakers. And with Rondo there, that defense, that's something the Phoenix Suns don't have. They're gonna wish they had it. But that defense enabled the Lakers to dominate and allowed AD to play offense without trying so hard on defense. Dwight Howard was playing defense, so AD didn't have to. LeBron didn't have to because he had Kuzma, and Kuzma 3-and-D as well. So it's like I remember that, and yeah, they won the championship. Oh, it's like let's tinker a bit. It's almost like Ethereum or something. It's like you have an asset like that in Bitcoin. It's like, well, let's try to make it better. There is no better. There is no, I'm not trying to. This Bitcoin ballers were focused on basketball, but that's what happens when you tinker with something that's okay. And I understand the dynamic that when players win the championship, they say, let's get paid. Devin George. There's another. I always harken back to Devin George. He was in the right place at the right time. Really didn't come in. Really, his career blew up as soon as he made money when he went to Dallas. But he was fine with the Lakers. And guess what? These guys are out there for their own incentive. Couldn't bring him back. I thought they probably could have brought back KCP. But yeah, now you have no defense. And where do you go?
KCP was in the Russell Westbrook trade. That's what I wanted to get to, is the fact that, like, look, you let Caruso walk because Rich Paul has Pelinka by the balls and was like, no, you want THT, bro. Like, trust me, you need some of that THT. You need to save that money for him because I'm gonna demand a lot just for your 12th guy off the bench who played a total of like 4 games. We opted to,
bro. The wingspan.
Dude, don't fucking even. So we picked THC over Caruso. Stupid. And then we have the brilliant idea to trade KCP and freaking Kuzma. And somehow we get picks. Somehow we finally start getting picks back after the whole AD stuff. Yeah. And we're like, no, don't. You don't want those things. You don't want picks. Send them to Washington. Send them to Washington and let's bring Russell Westbrook home. Dude, there was a meme I remember seeing where it was Russell Westbrook in the bubble when we played the Rockets, and there was probably 15 feet of space between him and the closest Laker defender. And it was just like, go ahead, shoot the fucking 3. Like, we will live with you, Russell Westbrook, shooting 3 every possession of this game. If that's great defense for us. Yeah. That's the guy we thought we wanted on our team. Yeah. Rob Pelinka, seriously, go get your head examined. Like, my God. So you've done all these disastrous things. There was a lot of talk over the summer. Westbrook, Kyrie, we were fucking doing shit. I remember laughing my ass off at the idea of if Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving get traded straight up for each other, I will never question anything Kyrie Irving does or says again because that man's a genius. Sadly, the Nets saw through that ploy because honestly, I think there's a level of Kyrie's craziness where he was like, I think I could decrease my trade value enough so that all the Lakers have to do is trade Russell Westbrook for me and everyone's happy. Like a little bit, just a little.
That's why I still think he's coming to Lakers. I think he was trying to blow it up.
Probably. But so
go ahead.
Russell Westbrook has finally been shipped off in a 3-team deal. He is, for right now, in Utah, home of All-Star Weekend. Utah sent Mike Conley up to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And Minnesota sends us our former number 2 overall pick, in my opinion, the biggest cancer in any NBA locker room, who has been moved more times than Kevin Durant as far as trades go. Like, we get deloading. There's a couple other pieces. My personal favorite is Scottie Pippen Jr.'s mom's boyfriend is now also on the Lakers. So, like, you bring that dynamic in. You bring D'Angelo Russell, who, like, nobody in the NBA trusts this man. Like, he broke the sacred bro code. Like, he is not dude.
That was 4 years ago. That was no, hold on. Okay, you've gone long enough. Let's get into some quantitative aspects of this. The Lakers have forget the locker room, like, Instagram, talking about what was forget it. I don't even want to talk about it. The dynamic is the Lakers now have 3-point shooters: Beasley, D'Angelo, and Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt not as good, but Beasley and West and Russell are all about 38-39% from the 3-point line. Uh, LeBron has when he's won, look, it's LeBron's driving, and then he's kicking out to whether it's Mo Williams, Kyrie Irving, Mike Miller, KCP. He's won because he draws all this defense, and guys got to hit their shots, and it's basically an instant formula for winning for LeBron, and that's why I'm excited about it. Not to mention, you have a guy in D'Angelo Russell who, as LeBron is aging, he should shift to I ain't got to do that all the time. And so you have a guy who's confident with the ball. The Lakers have always had this point guard issue. And so now you have this real point. Even when you had Lonzo, it was like, what's going on? When you had D-Russ in rookie time, it's like, what's going on? Now you have a guy who, when you look at his stats, you can say that he was a crazy back in the day, but then you fast forward 4 years, he's been an all-star. He was on a winning team. And in my opinion, someone who's been traded 4 times.
To be clear, he's been an all-star one time, and he's been on a winning team one time that traded him away. Like, just I want to really clarify those.
I could be embellishing, but the catch is that when you are traded this often, it's not always because you are a cancer, a pariah, unwanted. Sometimes the trading mechanism is because, hey, I see that this guy is so worth having on my team that if you're gonna knock on my door and say, okay, well, give us D-Russ. Oh, the Lakers knocking on the Nets door. Oh, give us D-Russ. Oh, the Warriors are knocking on the Nets door. Give us D-Russ. Same thing with the Timberwolves.
So let's clarify something. So
he's tradable. He's valuable. Go ahead.
He's very tradable. He is valuable. I will give you that. Like, it's a very easy piece to move. Sure. His best season was after he was traded from the Lakers to the Nets for Brook Lopez.
Right.
And he was an all-star. And then he was a free agent that summer. And he signs with the Warriors. Like, if this is your best player from last season and you think he is someone of value, like, you don't just let him go. He
was conflicting with Steph Curry's position. Like, you don't have room for that. And then you had to make room for Jordan Poole. Like,
so that's the whole thing. He got signed the year that Steph was injured.
Yeah.
So he was like, he should have realized always that this is a temporary thing. Like, I am expendable here. But sure. I don't think he thought that, because someone like him doesn't think like that. He genuinely thought, like, oh, I'm going to come and I'm going to take the torch from Steph. Like, there we go. Like, that's like genuinely, like, someone like D'Lo thinks like that. And then, of course, it's like, yo, we have the best point guard in the NBA right now. Like, either go on the bench and like do your role, or we'll find someone who fits the puzzle pieces better. Lo and behold, Jordan Poole starts fucking blowing up. And it's like, why do we need you? Like, why do I need you who thinks you need to be something that you're not?
Right. And guess what? And if I think that I am something and that team doesn't think, I'm going to say, well, by all means, trade me. And because I want to go somewhere. I'm 24, 25 years old. I got talent. I got skill. I got an opportunity to make a max deal. I'm not going to be riding the bench behind the best point guard in the NBA. The best point guard in the NBA, his backup is replaceable. And then the next backup and the next backup, because he's going to be there long term. So yeah, by all means, I am 100% on par. Just like Harden didn't want to be back in the Oklahoma City days. He says, like, I'm MVP caliber. Like, I don't need to be sixth man of the year. So I understand, like, people, the fan would say, get in line, next man up. But the individual sovereign, see, now I'm bringing Bitcoin into it. The sovereign individual says, well, I'm going to go where my incentives are most valued. And I felt like D'Angelo has throughout all his shifting, yet still, you look at his stats, he's always 18-7, 18-8. Those are nasty numbers. So he's going to do the same thing for Lakers. It's going to bump them up, win shares up, wins up for the Lakers. They're going to be a playoff team, and they're going to threaten him teams like the Phoenix Suns, they're going to be sweating. They don't want to play the Lakers. Teams like the Memphis Grizzlies, they're going to sweat. They don't want to play the Lakers because they're not the same Laker team at the beginning of the season, and that should be concerning.
Like, I agree from the notion that the Lakers are better as a result of this trade. Yes, I agree. I just don't think they're as good as people are giving them credit for as a result of this trade. And I do think there are those intangibles that are not measured by analytics. Because, like, I like you. I show me the numbers. Let's see this work. But there's that other side of it. There's another side where chemistry does matter. Like, that Lakers bubble team worked because of the chemistry more than anything. Like, everyone knew their role, respected it, and was after something bigger than themselves.
Yep.
I don't see that with this team, even with these trades. And I welcome being wrong about it, but
Let me ask you
unfortunately,
something real quick. Do you see that with Anthony Davis?
I think Anthony Davis, after he won a championship, has become a different player, unfortunately.
Basically, I've done my piece, and I'm not really. I ain't tripping. Okay, so
Like,
so the trade wouldn't matter then because your
we
number
live
two
and die with
player.
AD. Like,
Yeah,
I will say it. Like, we do not live and die with LeBron right now. We live and die with AD.
yeah,
And so as a result, if his heart's not in it, we're not going very far. So
right. So
th-
even these here's the catch. What I said is the Lakers are going to make the play-ins, which means they're going to be instead of a 13 seed, they're going to be a 12, and at least a 12, and they're going to make some people sweat. And this Laker team now is better. This Laker team, the Laker team with Westbrook was a borderline play-in team. Now I think that they are a
no,
legitimate
no, no,
play-in
no,
team.
no, no. They were not a playoff team. They weren't a
Play,
play-in team
play
because,
in, play in, play
but they
in.
weren't even a play-in team last year. So I don't think that that's like you're
This Laker
giving.
team, they were hurt last year. I'm saying this year they are 13th place. They can go on a run. AD was hurt. If everyone was healthy, they would easily have been a 12th place team. And so that's why all I'm saying is that they can be there. Now they're a 12th place team, 11th place team, and they have D. Russ, Michael Beasley, shooters, defenders. And now it's like those teams in the play-ins are like, oh, I don't want to play LeBron and AD. Like they may wake up, and then all of a sudden they're in the playoffs. Now they face Memphis, and it's like, I really don't want to play. No one wants to play LeBron. The first place, the first ranked team, the second seed team, they don't want to play LeBron in the first round. They want to save that for the second round. So it's like it's scary, but you're right. The chemistry is not perfect for a championship. I'm not expecting a championship. A I'm expecting a first round exit with a tough fight. Do you expect a first round exit with a tough fight?
In all honesty, I don't think they make the play-in.
Okay,
And this segues perfectly to
mark that down.
like, dude, I feel sad saying it. Like, I want my Lakers, dude, I want my Lakers to be the first 10 seed to be playing in the NBA finals. Like, that's what I want.
I
That's
don't
what my
really
heart
care.
wants. Objectively speaking, though, like, let's we haven't really talked about the other two teams in the trade, but we'll do that as we start to, I think, discuss sort of expectations for the rest of the season. Let's start with the West play-in, because as it stands right now, it's the Pelicans at 7, the Timberwolves at 8, the Warriors at 9, and the Thunder at 10. And then you have the Jazz, Blazers, and Lakers 11, 12, 13th, respectively. So you have one of the teams that was in this trade in a play-in spot, and you have the winner of the Russell Westbrook sweepstakes. What is it? A game and a half. No, half a game back. Half a game back from the play-in spot. So let's start first with between these three teams, who got okay. I think we're both on the same page that the Lakers probably got the best out of them, but between Utah and Minnesota, then who got better than the other?
I think you know, from my perspective, I don't even think it matters that Utah got better. I don't think that's their goal. Their goal is to stack draft picks. And I think, and even they even said, what did they say? They said to Westbrook, "Hey, we're not playing our young guys. So, I mean, I'm sorry, we're not playing. We're not going to prioritize playing you because we want to play our young guys. So that means that hey, they're just sort of like scoping out who's good for us in the next 3 years. They don't care if they make the playoffs, and because they don't care, I don't think they will make the playoffs. I don't think that an extra 4 games, if they're going to get swept, or 1 game in the play-in is going to matter to them for the sake of let's figure out where our young guys fit in to our future. So
Fair.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying fair. And I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up, because this was news that was circulating today. There is a conversation happening today or this weekend with Russell Westbrook and the Clippers for a potential buyout. So it could end, and that was long suspected, was that Russ would get bought out. Danny Ainge came out and said, like, look, we're happy to have Russ in Utah so long as he knows his role, as you've sort of alluded to what his role would look like should he stay. But I think let's play the both sides of it. Let's play the side that Russ stays and the side that, let's say, Russ does get bought out and leave. I would say confirmed. You get bought out and you leave, Utah is not going to stand in anyone's way. They'll fall lower just to obtain a higher draft pick. Agreed. If
Westbrook's not
Russ
helping
stays,
them win.
right. But if Russ stays as a final fuck you to the Lakers, I think he would try to take that last spot over the Lakers if the
He would
opportunity
try.
presents itself.
He would try and fail because other teams are trying to do it. And here's the thing: Westbrook is actually trying. He's incapable of being an efficient player because he never developed a jump shot into his mid-30s. Even Blake Griffin developed a jump shot. So he's freakishly athletic, but it's containable. So I don't think that Russell Westbrook's going to propel the Jazz. Like, and if Russell Westbrook wants to make noise, he goes to the Bulls where they're missing a point guard, and he actually starts and contributes. He goes to the Clippers, in my opinion, he's going to be at the end of the bench or at the end of the option train because they don't. The Clippers are in the 4th position without a point guard. They don't. They got Kawhi dribbling. They got PG dribbling. They don't want or need a point guard, in my opinion.
Right. But I do think, to talk just playoff depth, any team would love to have Russell Westbrook as their 6th man. If you're genuinely in the playoff hunt and go down this list all the way, Nuggets are better if Russell Westbrook is coming off the bench for them. Grizzlies are better if Russell Westbrook's coming off the bench for them. Kings, Clippers, Suns. Fuck, even the Mavericks are better if they add Russell Westbrook as depth to come off the bench. And I genuinely believe that at this point in his career, that is what he's going to do wherever he goes. He is going to be the 6th man. So let's say Jazz, I think we're both on the same page, are most likely out of this hunt. So that leaves the Trailblazers ahead of the Lakers, and then you're right there. I want to first talk Trailblazers. What are your expectations? They moved Josh Hart. They got Cam Reddish.
Very similar. Go ahead, ask your question so I make sure you're on the same page.
I just want to know if you think Dame has enough to get this team into the play-in.
Never has, never will. Even if he like his best times were with McCollum. You know, a dynamic duo. Both of them shooters. Both of them can play off the ball and on ball. That's what's so great. Anthony Simmons is coming into his element, but he's 23 years old. He's a different generation of Dame, and so for that matter, you know, Anthony is probably saying, "Man, I'm waiting for you to ship out, bro, because this is my team." And Jeremy Grant has always been a good 3rd option, but you know, I think he's very similar to D'Angelo Russell, where he's valuable. It's like, oh yeah, I want Jeremy Grant. He'll be a good mid-level free agent or high to mid-level free agent. You know, you're happy to have him, but he's not going to make or break your team. Although I remember seeing them play against the Lakers as a heartbreak. I had money on that game, and he took LeBron. It really made me mad. I'm like, how do you guys blow this? But long story short, Portland isn't designed to win these stretch games. They are designed primarily to where are we going? That's why they got Cam Reddish, young guy. Josh Hart's a little older. They just want some energy to see, hey, maybe we're feeling our team out to go into a future past Lillard. Because even though he signed that contract, it was silly. He should be going somewhere where he can try to at least get to the finals. Or guess what? He's going to end up being known as the guard version of Dominique Wilkins, where he averages 28 points a game, and it's like, did he ever play in the playoffs ever? Did he win a series? Maybe one or two. That's not so. For that matter, they're just going to wash out. They expand the playoffs. Inflation on the playoffs. It's not going to help them. The Lakers are primed to win better, win now, build back better, which they're doing right here. And now you start. I mean, I can't imagine you would have any other thought. I mean, they're literally a lesser of a team than they were when the Blazers were winning playoff games.
Honestly, it's just sad to see them waste Dame. Like Dame's loyalty has honestly just been faulted.
Get
I would
three
have,
draft picks.
bro. I would have loved to have seen him don the purple and gold.
He can play off the ball. He would be a great point guard off the ball with LeBron. LeBron's driving, kick out to Dame. He's knocking down. But guess what?
If Pelinka had blown up the Lakers, not for Russ but for Dame,
Oh,
I'd forgive him. I would forgive him for that.
I think he could have blown up the team for almost anyone. If you're going to blow up the team, you're generally blowing up the team for a really good player, and almost everyone would have been a better option than Westbrook. It sounded nice because he's from LA. 2 years off, 2 years or 3 years off of MVP season, 2 years off MVP, but he can't shoot the ball, and LeBron plays with shooters. It's just an ill-advised move by a guy who got the general manager position because he's Kobe's agent.
Yeah. Goes to show you probably need a little bit of front office acumen before you're running
Yeah, but
front office.
Lakers have
That
always
said,
been
hey, Donald Trump was president of the United States. Lakers, when you're ready, I am ready to be your general manager. All right, let's get into the teams in the playoffs. So I want to really paint a picture for you. The Sacramento Kings are in third place right now. The Lakers are only 6 games behind the Kings. Like, that's how tight. That is 3 through 13 is a 6-game spread.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'm looking at the list of playoff teams, and I feel bad picking on the Kings because I just feel like
There's no reason to pick on the Kings if that's what the route you're going down. Am I breaking up again? Oh my gosh. Hello? Oh, maybe I'm good. It says you're in the show. Everyone can see you. So if I'm still on, sorry for our first show, but if I'm still on and he's going to talk about making fun of the Kings, I'll let you all know that the Kings are built. Oh, Q, you're back. Hey, that was you who were breaking up this time.
You understand that you keep breaking up, right?
That was me
still. It's you.
How do I game? How do I game at home and then I can't stream? I'll fix that next time. But long story short, the Kings are situated to hold their playoff position. They have a great point guard. They have a great center. Underappreciated Sabonis, the son of Arvydas Sabonis. He's a freak rebounding, scoring, passing machine. He's literally baby Jokic. So that's why they're winning. And when you think about Harrison Barnes, who has just legacy classic swing man defense shoot. Herder, you saw what he did with the Hawks, and now he doesn't have to play behind 30 shots a game. Trae Young, I mean, and they have young athletic people coming off the bench. They're fine. So in my opinion, you can't pick on the Kings because they ain't going nowhere.
Fair. But I want to go down. Let's go down that list though, because like Nuggets and Grizzlies, they're locked. They're gonna the Nuggets, in my opinion.
They should be going to the finals.
They should be. We'll see if they do, but I don't think it's fair to say either. I buy into the narrative that the Nuggets have proven themselves, and quite frankly, Jokic has held the fort down while Jamal Murray has just been out, and we have been waiting as NBA fans to see a healthy Nuggets team and what they can accomplish. and we're starting to see it, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the playoffs look. I think Nuggets are going to be the 1 seed in the West. I don't think Phoenix or the Mavs are going to get there. I think that Phoenix or the Mavs might get up there. I think those might be the 2 or 3 seeds.
No, they've locked it. That's 5 games with 30. How many? What is that? That looks like 30 games left. It's a 59 game. They've played 59
20,
games. They have
22 game,
32
23
games
games.
left. They're not losing. They're not losing first place. Now, the Grizzlies may lose second. If
Yeah.
they go on a bad streak, someone gets hurt. But Denver's locked. So it's not even worth talking.
Nuggets and Grizzlies, I think, are both locked in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp. I agree with you on the Kings. I think the Kings are one of those teams that
In the playoffs.
can make it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they go cold for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden they're a play-in team as a result.
Yes.
But I think they can make the playoffs. I think that they have enough of a cushion. The they're going to make the playoffs. Fine. Suns and Mavericks.
Don't hate. Like they're a solid team.
No, they're not.
They're a solid team.
Clippers are literally, dude. Clippers are little brother of LA. Don't you dare put any respect on their name. Like they can win 18 straight championships, and it will still be Lakers. As
they're deeper than I'm looking at these teams.
I don't care. I cannot like the Clippers and be objective and say the Clippers suck, asshole.
You have to be objective. This is Bitcoin ballers.
I am objective. The Clippers suck, assholes. They don't suck wieners. They suck assholes. They suck the poop out of your butthole.
Remember Cam Thomas? Remember Cam Thomas and what he was doing? Terrence Mann was doing that in the playoffs. And now he doesn't have to play behind Reggie Jackson or John Wall. Now he can be who he is. Paul George, Kawhi, the good Morris brother. Mason Plumlee is a better center than Zubac. They picked him up. They got Eric Gordon. You're talking about everyone would love to have Russell Westbrook. Everyone would love to have Eric Gordon, who's just reliable 3-point shooting and doesn't turn the ball over. Bones Highland is the younger version of Russell Westbrook if you want some crazy volume shooting. In my opinion, and then I didn't even mention Norman Powell, who's their third best scorer. The Clippers are scary, and they don't need Russell Westbrook. In fact, I would say that
stay where they are at the 4 seed. They play the Nuggets in the second round, and the Nuggets beat them in 6 games. Like that's it.
That's what most of these teams are going to be. So yeah.
The point I'm trying to make though is like the Clippers may have gotten better, but the teams below them got even more better.
Not the Suns. See, that's what
you can think that you're coming up with like a hot take, but
don't you dare. Yes, I finally got my it ain't no hot take, man. But you're gonna see. We'll check mark this. They're 32-28. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games, according to ESPN.com on 2/17. We're going to check this out in 2 weeks. We're going to let it simmer. We're going to let the Kevin Durant, because of All-Star break. We're going to let this simmer in 3 weeks. We'll say, where were they? All-Star break. Let's check on them after 3 weeks after the All-Star break. They ain't got no defense, man.
Dude, regular season basketball, you don't need defense. Regular season NBA, you don't need defense to win games.
In this stretch, when the Lakers are 6 games out of the 3 seed, I don't think Sacramento is going to say, "Oh yeah, we're just going to give up this 3 seed because we don't care." There's going to be some. This is an extended playoff. This is a special year because the NBA doesn't have the parity that it had in the past. This is like any team. It's any team's game, and so for that reason, the stretch in which people actually start playing basketball, this is going to be like the best regular season that you're going to see in a while because of the tightness. And that's why that narrative of, oh yeah, regular season doesn't matter. That's changing. That's changing this season. And teams that don't play defense, Phoenix Suns, going down. Pelicans,
do you think the Suns don't make the playoffs?
Oh, they're going to play-ins. I promise. Okay.
You think so your pick is the Suns drop down to a play-in team.
Yes.
My pick is going to be the Kings drop down as a play-in team.
Okay. Well, I mean, the odds are with me because I have a little game and a half, but
totally, you have the lead.
Yes.
But hey,
But you're that
28 to
adamant.
3.
Yeah. But
28 to 3. Still blew it
okay.
at halftime.
Okay. We have to write these down. We have to write these down.
Oh, don't you worry. I'm gonna remember. I'm a member that you said that the Phoenix Suns were gonna fall to the play-in.
But the Mavericks, they go up to number 3 in my opinion.
Do you think do you think they finish above or below the Clippers?
I think that they finish if the Clippers cook. I don't know because the Clippers could cook, but I'm saying
They're not
I
gonna
could see
cook.
the Kings. I agree with you. The Kings slow down because they don't have because they're sort of, oh my gosh, the basketball is changing right now. We're too young to figure it out. The Clippers move up to 3, and Dallas moves up to 3 or 4 as well. I think the Dallas gets in high gear along with the Clippers. Phoenix takes 2 spots down at least, and Sacramento takes 2 spots down. That's what I'm saying. Now with the Pelicans and Wolves and Warriors,
Yeah. So that's the Pelicans, Wolves, Warriors, Thunder. That is the play-in teams. Let's
yeah,
first start with which of
okay.
those teams do you think can move up?
I don't know when Zion's coming back. If Zion comes back, like we're talking, Pelicans are instant, like in the 4 or 5.
Pelicans are half a game behind the Mavericks as of right now going into All-Star break. So
I
it's
think
like they're knocking on the door.
Yeah, but again, the momentum, the intensity of the game, they're going to need their star. They're not going. They're going to get demoralized with the game. They're going. People are going to start sweating. It's like this is tough. Like the games are harder. We need everyone there, and they got Josh Richardson. It's going to help, but everyone who's trying to get better got better. The Lakers got better. The Clippers got better. So, and the Pelicans, they're without their best player. So therefore, if he's not playing, they go down. The Warriors go up just by the fact that they're more mature, more experienced. They're going if they're healthy, they go up. The
Did they
Timberwolves, I think they
wait
are.
real
Go ahead.
quick? Gary Payton Jr. Is there any update? I haven't seen any update on his
They
health.
said they fixed the
They-
trade. I guess the physical, whether it passed or whether they said forget it, doesn't matter. The trade was
Completed.
confirmed.
Okay, so Gary Payton Jr. is back on the Warriors, but he's out. And they
Yeah.
gave up Wiseman, who like never amounted to much while on the Warriors to begin with. But so you really have the Pelicans who are going to be without Zion for at least 2 more weeks, possibly, maybe only 1 more, but I'm going to put it at least 2 more weeks he's out.
Yeah.
You have Minnesota that got Mike Conley in that 3-team deal, which I think could actually end up being a better fit for Ant and Cat and Gobert. So I actually think Minnesota got better enough that to me, that's my pick to sneak out. But if I'm going to make a bold call, I actually don't think any of these teams get out and above.
That's right. You got to remember the Timberwolves. They're also without their best players. So now you have the seventh and eighth best team in the West, both without their best player, and they've been playing generally without their best player. I don't know how many games Karl Anthony Towns has played. Seems he's only played 21 games, and it's an admirable effort to play in the regular season don't matter time, and they're a 500 team. Now I'm saying my true hot take is that after the All-Star break, it's now, especially with the last 20 games of the season, because every team has about 30 left, it's going to get playoff time. 20 games is playoff time, and teams without their best player will go down. So therefore, Pelicans, Timberwolves, they'll go down. Warriors and Oklahoma City, I see them going up. Thunder, I mean, when they're that close, yeah, tie goes to those two teams moving up. I still think the Lakers will be able to push through and possibly pass up the Timberwolves, pushing them out. I think Oklahoma City, I see the Lakers edging into like 9th or 10th, and I see the Timberwolves and Pelicans out, assuming that their players don't come back. If Zion comes back, Timberwolves maybe a 6th seed.
I think Zion, and you mean Pelicans is a 6 seed.
Did I say? Oh, I meant the Pelicans. Yeah.
So I think Zion will be back before Cat.
Yeah.
And
Cat, they said 10 to 15 games left in the season. That's not enough. They're going down.
No, like the last thing I read was like he's not coming back for another month.
Yeah,
So
he's the Timberwolves are out of the playoffs. That's my. You can write that one down too. We're gonna write all these down.
what's crazy is like it's really about to come down to like who wants to be in the playoffs more, Anthony Edwards or LeBron James. Like that's what I think it's going to come down to.
Yeah, or is it Anthony Edwards and Anthony Davis?
No, I love AD. We live and die by AD, but I think LeBron is going to be the key to will us into the playoffs. How far we go is on or AD's shoulders,
There you go.
but getting into the playoffs, that's LeBron.
Okay,
That's LeBron's responsibility.
agreed. Yeah, I think he's a great regular season player, but you're going to need some more reliable type of. He can't be the 1v3 kind of dynamic like he was in the past, and you're going to need the AD dynamic to get those easy lobs, those mid range, the defensive side, the blocks. Those are the kind of things that LeBron can't do at 38, 39. While his regular season numbers will be great, he's going to be relying on a 3-point ball a lot more in the playoffs, and he's just not the 3-point shooter that you would want him to be. So, like, I agree with your take. You're going to have to get Anthony Davis to wake up. A lot of teams, as we're going into this time, this stretch time, the teams that are saying, "Hey, star player, come, wake up for me. Don't be hurt or start playing well." Teams that don't have that, Oklahoma City, the Warriors, they're the Dallas Mavericks. Those are the teams that you're gonna see them rise to the top. Yeah, it's interesting. What
All
about
right.
the East?
I want to, yeah, let's get over the East. So we've essentially established our expectation is that Minnesota is probably going to be the team that falls out.
Yeah,
Lakers should swoop that spot. Depending on how quickly Zion comes in, Pelicans could actually move up. You expect it to be the Suns that fall. I expect it to be the Kings that fall to play in.
be
So
interesting.
on
Yeah,
the
there you
record,
go. Okay,
now
on the
let's go
list.
over the East. Just because we've been going for over an hour and a half now, I'm going to speed this
Our,
up a little bit.
our first episode. Yep.
First four seeds, they're locked. Cavs, 76ers, Bucks, Celtics, and I don't think anyone's gonna like.
No one's going to beat them.
I, I don't think anyone's gonna join that rank. We
I do
talked a
think
little
Cleveland's passing the Sixers.
fair. I mean, they're 2 games behind the Sixers. I think it'll. I think honestly, like these are the 4 teams that are gonna play in the East semifinals. Like the rest of the teams don't excite me, but we can break them down. Like we talked the Nets. I
We
think
talked Nets.
we talked to plenty. You think that they're going to stay sort of where they're at. I think they could fall into the play in.
Mm.
Um, I think the Knicks with Josh Hart, like that's an improvement over Cam Reddish, just a player you're not really playing. So now you have a player that you can use. I like. I think the Knicks stay where they are. I do think that the Heat are going to heat up, pun intended. Um, and it's just the easy
How?
one.
Like, what's
Jimmy
going to just playoff experience? Like, is that they're just going to wake up?
I mean, look, man, you're the one. I'll use your words against you right now. Like we've essentially entered NBA playoff level basketball, and so like that experience, like knowing what it takes to win in that competitive environment. The question is whether or not Bam is going to like really play like Bam. He's an all star, sure, but I think he's an all star because there aren't that many quality big men in the East anymore.
Mhm,
So
mhm, mhm.
I kind of like I keep throwing Jimmy's name out as like, yo, Jimmy's gonna get hot, but it's whether
Jimmy's
or
great.
not Bam shows up to play. I'm expecting kind of like what I said earlier, like, oh, like DeMar DeRozan's gonna walk around All Star Weekend and be like, yo, I'm at this level of all these fucking guys, and all these guys are in the fucking playoffs, so it's on me. Let's fucking go when we get back to Chicago. I think Jimmy and Bam are gonna have a moment in Utah this weekend where they're like, I don't want to fucking play in no play in. I want 7 games locked and loaded, even if it means we don't have home court advantage. That's fine. But let's get our ass out of the play in tournament because we're better than that. So I think that
Only
that
half a game. Yeah.
I think that's sort of where my expectations are. Do you think the Nets or the Knicks, either of them fall into play in?
If anyone, I mean, I would think that I agree with your rationale. I've always been a fan of Jalen Brunson, and with Josh Hart joining the team. He's, you know, I understand the rebounding, 8 rebounds a game. He's 6'4". You know, he's a smidge
Dude, I
taller than
loved him when he
me.
was on the Lakers. Like that was honestly the piece I was most sad about losing in the AD deal. Like
Yeah, no,
BI, sure, Lonzo, sure. Like you knew those guys were gonna have to go, but Josh Hart, that one made me sad.
is I guess RJ Barrett's healthy again. They don't seem to have anyone explicitly on the injury report. And I just feel like that's, I mean, besides Mitchell Robinson, who's always hurt, gosh, I mean, if they had him, he's so efficient. I really like him from just a stats perspective. But yeah, I see them as a decent young team still that will probably veteran stuff. I see if anyone out of this play in plus bowls are going to push for the Knicks spots, it would be the Heat. But I think the East is sort of locked in. I don't see the Knicks really like, oh yeah, we're just going to flounder. Like Julius
No,
Randle's
dude.
a veteran, you know.
Yeah, and Julius Randle, like I long said when he was even on the Lakers, I was like, dude, he's a 3-point shot away from being one of the better power
Yeah,
forwards in the league, and
yeah.
he's playing in the 3-point contest tomorrow night. So
Is he? Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
yeah.
It's kind of a joke.
So like I mean, yeah. But I mean, look, when Kevin Hart can be an NBA player in a 3-point contest, you know the 3-point contest is a joke.
Oh my goodness. What's this 3-point percentage? It's 33. It's gonna be so bad. You can't be a 33% 3-point shooter in the 3-point contest.
Yeah,
So
but 3-point
he's a
contests are
volume
wide
shooter.
open.
It's gonna be he'll get hot and he could win on a streak, but we're not here to talk about 3-point contests.
All right. Let's wrap this up though with the Hawks, Wizards, Raptors. Of these three teams, which do you think does not make the playoffs or
uh,
play
I
in?
I think it stays solid. I don't expect the Chicago Bulls to pull it off. I think that having a Lonzo Ball hurt is an integral part of a playoff stretch. You want to have that defender, although they have Caruso. I just think that
They
the
also have Zach Levine.
Levine is and DeRozan. They're a standard. They're the ones that get the points in the bucket, but the points in the ball in the basket. But when it comes down to this stretch, and you're going to be playing your main guys just 10% more, you know that kind of that when you're relied on to score those extra points, that means you're going to need other people to play that extra D. That's what you know Lonzo. That's where Lonzo Ball comes in to shore up that kind of issue. And for that, I mean, their backup, you know, Goran Dragic, too old to really be impactful in that regards. Vucevic, I really like him as well. You know, he's sort of like, you know, that classic European big man that can just, you know, pour in the 2010 when you need it. But I think it's a little too late, too little too late, if you will. And honestly, it's inconsequential because I think this bottom four teams, the Bulls, Raptors, Wizards, and Hawks, um, they're really, whoever makes the eighth seed, they're just going to get blown out of the water by the Celtics. So the Heat are a threat. The Knicks are a threat to the Sixers or Cavs, and the Brooklyn Nets, I think, are a threat to everyone but the Bucks and the Celtics. So I just think that the way the East is structured, they have their tiers set. The West is a little more wild, especially with the trades. You know, the trades really mixed up and gave some unknowns. I think the East is just going to flesh out the way it looks.
I know I've talked and hyped up playoff experience throughout today's episode, but something just tells me that the Toronto Raptors are not making it.
Oh no, no,
Like
no, they're not.
I just think that the Bulls are going to get hot, and I think that the Bulls will take that 10 spot, and that'll cause the Raptors to fall just
It's
enough to
not
come
the
out of
same.
the plan.
It's not the same Raptors team. You know, that was
Totally.
now four seasons ago, and they have Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and Gary Trent Jr. He was on the Blazers at that point. OG Anunoby was a rookie who didn't play. That's it. That was all. That was all that was from that championship team. That's not the same Raptors team. Fred VanVleet is looking for his next contract. He should be going to a team that has a dominant ball handler like Doncic, so he can come off screens and shoot and be an alternate ball handler. But they're just not built to win anything.
No, Masai's done a great job, but I think that they're that team is played out its course, and it'll be interesting to see. I think what he does to rebuild it, but
Yes.
I think that about does it because I don't think that the Pacers or Magic are gonna vie for a play-in spot either.
No reason to talk about them.
Other than the fact that George Hill going back home to the Pacers got traded, so that
Make or
did
break.
happen. Uh, So a couple other quick ones. We did touch a little bit on the Eric Gordon trade, so we'll see. I do think that Mo Bamba is a nice improvement over Thomas Bryant, although I did love Thomas Bryant, like
Very
appreciate his
efficient.
service.
But very efficient offensively, but again, I didn't see much of him in Orlando. We don't get their games much, but a lot of my friends said he's a much better defender. That's going to be where the Lakers have shored up their offensive efficiency. He needs to come in and do that defensive job and maybe take the pressure off of AD. And I heard Bryant demanded a trade. I don't think he liked playing with AD. Maybe he was like, this guy's
Yeah,
lazy. This guy's kind of
no, it's a contract year for him.
mm,
So what I saw was his rationale was like, I need playing time so I can show people like what I can do to make money. So
good for him.
honestly, like, dude, Thomas Bryant has been in and out of the Lakers. I'm sure we won't. This won't be the last time the Lakers hear of Thomas Bryant. But on that note, I think it's about that time of the evening where we're gonna go to our lives because it's Friday fucking night and we've been hanging out with you guys for about 2 hours now. I first want to say thank you to everyone who is watching. If you are watching this after we have premiered it live, please, please, please make sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Let us know how stupid our takes are. Let us know how boring this was or how much you liked it. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but appreciate you sticking through it this whole time. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Ulrich, I turn it over to you for the final word.
This was fun. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I thought I have that good internet setup with all the gaming I do. But I look forward to talking next week where we have some more takes about how the trades are fleshing out. I think it's going to be a great basketball season. Honestly, unlike any regular season we've ever had before.